Chosen one. They shamed you for showing up real while everyone else was playing dress-up with fake faces, and now they're absolutely furious that you refuse to put on a mask and join their masquerade party of pretenders. For years you've been asking yourself the same haunting questions. Why do I stand out in every room I enter? Why can't I seem to get it together the way others do? Why does it feel like I'm always under scrutiny, always the one being watched and judged? Why does it seem like it's constantly me against them, no matter where I go or what group I'm part of? When you stand in the middle of any gathering, your whole face shows, your real emotions, your genuine reactions, your authentic responses. Everyone else only shows half of their real self because the other half is hidden behind their mask. You were the only one playing by different rules, and you didn't even know the game had rules. This pattern has followed you everywhere. In school, you were the one who said what others were thinking, but wouldn't dare voice. At work, you're the one who points out problems that everyone else pretends don't exist. In relationships, you're the one who wants real connection, while others are content with surface-level interactions. You thought something was wrong with you, but something was actually very right with you. The weight of being different has been heavy. The constant questioning of yourself, wondering why you can't just fit in like everyone else seems to. You've carried this burden of feeling like an outsider, without understanding that being an outsider in a world of pretenders is actually your greatest strength. Now comes the moment of choice. You can be proud of your unmasked self, or you can finally cave to the pressure and put on a mask like everyone else. Some of you have already tried wearing masks. Maybe you spent years dimming your light, hiding your intelligence, pretending to be someone you're not just to fit in. And now that you're showing up as your real self again, it's shocking people who thought they knew you. People around you are going to react strongly to your authenticity. They might come at you with masks, trying to convince you that you need to wear one too. They'll tell you that you're too much, too real, too honest for your own good. They'll suggest that maybe you should tone it down, blend in better, stop making waves. You're an honest person who wears their heart on their sleeve. It is what it is with you. There's no hidden agenda, no secret motives, no games being played. This transparency that feels natural to you is actually threatening to people who have built their entire identity around hiding who they really are. What's coming next will test every fiber of your being. You're about to discover just how deep the deception goes around you, how many people you thought you knew are actually complete strangers, and how your simple act of being real is about to turn entire social structures upside down. You embody extraordinary and elevated intelligence, and this is exactly why you show your face. When you have information, when you think critically, when you process the world around you, there's simply no reason to wear a mask. Your mind works differently than those around you. You've mastered multiple levels of understanding that others haven't even begun to explore. You've developed the ability to see both the surface level of interactions and the deeper currents underneath. While others get caught up in the drama and the surface politics, you're processing the actual facts, the real dynamics, the truth of what's happening. You cannot wear a mask because you don't even know how to process what's fake. You're too busy processing what's real. When you live in reality and learn things factually, it changes how you move through the world. You walk with a different energy, a different presence, because you're grounded in truth rather than floating in illusion. This makes you stand out dramatically from people who literally walk around in states of delusion, people who have convinced themselves that their masks are their real faces. Your brain simply doesn't work the same way as mask wearers. They can compartmentalize truth and fiction, reality and performance, their public face and their private self. You can't do this because your mind insists on integration, on wholeness, on consistency between who you are inside and who you are outside. This integration is both your greatest strength and your biggest challenge in a world built on pretense. The fundamental difference between you and the mask wearers comes down to this: you can live with the truth of who you really are. Whatever you've done in your past, whatever mistakes you've made, whatever shadows you carry, you've faced them. You've swallowed the bitter pills, acknowledged your flaws, and integrated your experiences into who you are today. This ability to face yourself completely means you get to stand unmasked. You don't have parts of yourself that are so shameful or so dark that they require hiding. You've done the internal work that most people spend their entire lives avoiding, and this work has given you a freedom that terrifies those around you. Most people wearing masks are doing so because they literally cannot handle the truth about themselves. They have actions, thoughts, and behaviors that would shatter their self-image if they had to look at them directly. They would rather live behind a false face than confront who they actually are underneath. The mask isn't just hiding them from others, it's hiding them from themselves. Your willingness to face your own truth, to own your story completely, to integrate even the difficult parts of your experience into your identity, this gives you a solid foundation that others simply don't have. While they're constantly managing their image and maintaining their facade, you're free to simply exist as you are. Coming up, you're about to discover that your authenticity has been creating ripple effects you never imagined, and some people are working very hard behind the scenes to get you to put on a mask before you wake up too many others. Behind the scenes, your unmasked presence is causing people to take involuntary pauses. Your continuous showing up as your authentic self has people questioning things they've never questioned before. You're making them wonder what you know that they don't know. You're making them curious about what it would feel like to drop their own masks. For those who knew you during any period when you were trying to wear a mask, your transformation has completely flipped their world upside down. They never guessed that underneath whatever persona you were trying to maintain, you were actually someone with this level of intelligence, this depth of insight, this capacity for truth-telling. Many of you had to spend years dumbing yourselves down. You had to hide your intelligence because being too smart made you a target. You had to pretend you didn't see patterns that were obvious to you. You had to hide the fact that you were receiving higher levels of information, deeper insights, broader perspectives than those around you. You knew that if you showed your true brilliance, you would have been eliminated from social groups, professional circles, even family dynamics. The survival strategy was simple: make yourself smaller, dimmer, less threatening. Pretend you don't understand things you understand perfectly. Act like you're on the same level as people who are operating from much more limited perspectives. Keep your insights to yourself and let others take credit for ideas you could have developed more fully. Now that you're able to walk unmasked, what you don't realize is that this has flipped many people's understanding of reality completely upside down. They're having to reconsider everything they thought they knew about you, about themselves, about the nature of intelligence and authenticity itself. The response to your authenticity is predictable and swift. You're suddenly too much, too real, too loud, too inappropriate. You're labeled a know-it-all, someone who thinks they're better than everyone else, someone who needs to be taken down a few notches. The strategy is always the same: put you in a position where you have to take a voluntary pause, sit down and shut up. Stop making everyone else uncomfortable with your truth-telling. Stop making them question their own choices to hide behind masks. Your brilliance is threatening their comfort zone, and they want to mask it as quickly as possible. You need to be very careful during this phase because someone is definitely going to see your light and want to dim it. They'll come with sophisticated arguments about why you need to tone it down, why authenticity isn't always appropriate, why sometimes wearing a mask is the mature and responsible thing to do. They'll use your own compassion against you, suggesting that your authenticity is hurting others, that you're being selfish by refusing to play along with social expectations. They'll make you feel guilty for being real in a world where everyone else is performing. The resistance you're facing isn't just personal, it's systemic. You represent a threat to entire social structures that depend on people hiding their true selves, playing assigned roles, and not asking too many questions about why things work the way they do. The truth about the world of mask wearers is more disturbing than you ever imagined. You're about to discover that some of the people closest to you have been hiding secrets so dark that they would fundamentally change how you see them if you knew the truth. There are family members who show up to every gathering with perfect smiles and kind words, who compliment the food and ask about everyone's lives, but who have committed acts that would horrify you if you knew about them. There are people in your friend groups who are plotting and planning against others in private group chats, while giving those same people hugs and smiles in person. That relative who always seems to have money but no clear source of income. The way they acquired their wealth might involve activities that would shock you. The friend who always seems so put together and moral, their private behaviors might be completely opposite to their public persona. The depth of this deception extends into professional environments too. Colleagues who present themselves as ethical leaders might be engaging in practices that would destroy their careers if exposed. People you've worked alongside for years might have entire shadow lives that contradict everything they claim to stand for in public. What makes this particularly unsettling is how expertly these masks are maintained. These aren't occasional slips or minor inconsistencies. These are elaborate, long-term performances that require constant energy and attention to detail. The people wearing these masks have become so skilled at their performances that they can maintain them for decades without anyone noticing the contradictions. You can go your entire life never really knowing a person. The masks some people wear are so sophisticated, so well maintained, that they can hide the most fundamental truths about who they really are and what they're really capable of. You've been interacting with characters, not people. You've been building relationships with performances, not authentic humans. Some mask wearers have become so committed to their false personas that they've almost convinced themselves that the mask is real. They've lived behind their facade for so long that they've forgotten what their authentic self even looks like. This creates a particularly tragic situation where they're not just deceiving others, they're deceiving themselves. This realization is both liberating and disturbing. Liberating because it explains why you never felt like you truly connected with certain people. You were trying to connect with their masks, not their real selves. Disturbing because it means the world is far more deceptive than you ever imagined, and far fewer people are operating from genuine places than you thought. This is why the Obsidian Inner Order is where you can finally drop your mask and connect with others who value truth over performance. We understand the exhaustion of constant social translation, the loneliness of seeing what others refuse to acknowledge, and the relief of finally being seen for who you really are. We're never gonna give you up, never gonna let you walk through this realization alone. Never gonna scroll past your need for authentic connection like it's just content. In the Obsidian Inner Order, we show up without masks, speak without scripts, and connect from places of genuine truth. You don't have to pretend anymore. You don't have to perform. You can finally just be. Join the Obsidian Inner Order. Link in the description. What you're starting to understand about your position in this masked world is that you have the incredible privilege of being able to walk through life without skeletons that people can hold over your head. You don't have dark secrets that force you to wear a mask. You don't have hidden shame that requires constant image management. Even if you've made mistakes, even if you've done things you're not proud of, your actions haven't been so dark or so corrupt that they require hiding behind a false persona. Your secrets, if you have any, are manageable. Your past, whatever it contains, is something you can live with and own. Most people wearing masks are doing so because they're forced to. They have actions in their past, behaviors in their present, or plans for their future that would destroy their lives if they became public knowledge. They're not choosing to wear masks for fun, they're wearing them for survival. You don't have to do that, and this freedom creates an intense reaction in others. They look at your ability to be authentic, and they feel a combination of envy, resentment, and fear. Envy because they wish they could be as free as you are. Resentment because your freedom highlights their captivity. Fear because your authenticity threatens to expose the artificial nature of their own personas. This privilege of authenticity that you carry, this ability to be real without devastating consequences, is rarer than you think and more powerful than you realize. Most people would pay anything to have what you have naturally. When you show up, when you speak your truth, when you refuse to wear a mask, Things change around you, people change, situations shift, the energy in rooms transforms. Your presence alone has the power to alter reality for everyone around you. You're creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond what you can see. Behind you, people are starting to question their own masks. They're looking at your freedom and thinking about what it would feel like to drop their own facades. Some of them are getting tired of maintaining their personas and wondering if they could live authentically too. This is creating resistance from those who benefit from everyone wearing masks. They're the ones saying, wait a minute, hold on, let's tuck that back in. When they see others getting inspired by your example, they depend on a world where everyone hides their true self, and you're threatening that entire system. You once said you wanted to live in a world where people could walk around without masks, showing their true selves. That wish is starting to come true, but you're the one leading the way. You're the pioneer, the trailblazer, the one showing others that it's possible to be real in a fake world. The fortune that's coming your way is directly connected to this choice to remain unmasked. The universe tends to favor those who operate from authentic places, and your refusal to hide who you are is about to pay dividends in ways you can't imagine yet. You're ready now, ready to strut your brilliance and extraordinary intelligence without apology, ready to be proud of who you are instead of hiding your gifts to make others comfortable. This is your time to go outside, to dance, to get on whatever stage is calling you, to ride the roller coasters and embrace the adventures that are waiting. Something new is happening because you decided to be unmasked in a world where people refuse to be their real selves. This choice is putting you in completely new rooms, connecting you with different types of people, opening doors that were never available to you when you were trying to fit in with the masked crowd. You're going to find other people who walk as you do. People who have also chosen authenticity over acceptance, truth over comfort, real connection over superficial networking. These connections will feel different from anything you've experienced before because they'll be based on who you actually are rather than who you're pretending to be. The action you're being called to take isn't just about your own life, it's about modeling a different way of being for everyone around you. Every time you show up authentically, you give someone else permission to consider dropping their own mask. Every time you refuse to play the games that everyone else is playing, you demonstrate that there's another way to move through the world. Your moment of action is also a moment of leadership. You're not just living authentically for yourself, you're pioneering a path that others can follow when they're ready to stop hiding who they really are. Your authenticity is powerful, but it also requires wisdom. There will be times when you're the only unmasked person in a room full of people you've never really met. In these moments, you might need to take a voluntary pause, not because you're ashamed of who you are, but because you're strategic about your energy and your safety. Some of the people you think you know, you've actually never met. Their masks have been so consistent and so convincing that you've been interacting with their personas for years without ever encountering their true selves. When you start showing up authentically in these spaces, you don't know how the real people underneath the masks are going to react. This doesn't mean you should go back to wearing a mask. It means you should be conscious about when and where you reveal your full authenticity. Not everyone deserves access to your real self. Not every situation is appropriate for complete transparency. Part of being authentically intelligent is knowing how to navigate a world that isn't ready for total honesty. Your ability to be real is a gift, but like any gift, it should be shared thoughtfully. You can maintain your integrity while also being smart about how you move through spaces where authenticity is rare and potentially dangerous. The pause isn't about hiding, it's about protecting your energy so you can continue being a force for authenticity in the world. It's about being sustainable in your truth-telling rather than burning out by trying to wake everyone up at once. Happy days are ahead for you. You're going to live life fruitfully, abundantly, and happily in ways that people who hide behind masks cannot access. Within the next 7 days, something is going to happen that confirms just how blessed you are to be walking this authentic path. You might receive news or information that validates your choice to be real. You might witness someone else's mask accidentally slip, giving you a glimpse of who they really are underneath their persona. You might have an experience that shows you exactly how much of a privilege it is to be able to show your real face to the world. The light can shine on your actual face because there's no mask covering it. You get direct access to life-giving energy, to inspiration, to truth, to connections that people behind masks can never experience. While they're managing their image and maintaining their facades, you're receiving the full benefits of authentic living. Your willingness to be real is about to be rewarded in tangible ways. The universe has been watching your commitment to truth, and the return on that investment is coming. You're going to understand just how blessed you are to be someone who can walk through the world without having to hide major parts of who you are. The confirmation is coming that you made the right choice, that all the discomfort, all the resistance, all the times you felt like an outsider for being real, it was all worth it. You're about to see proof that authenticity wins in the long run. You're going to find more people who are unmasked, people who can wear their truth beautifully without hiding behind false personas. These connections will lead to collaborations that create financial benefits, creative projects, and life experiences that wouldn't be possible if you were still trying to fit in with the masked crowd. You'll be among people you can truly team up with because you'll know you're working with their real selves, not their performances. You can trust these partnerships because they're built on authentic foundations rather than strategic positioning or image management. You're going to be creating new things for yourself, building fresh structures, designing different ways of living and working and connecting. You'll have access to a blueprint for life that most people can't even imagine because they're too busy maintaining their masks to envision what authentic living could look like. These collaborations and creations will be more fulfilling than anything you built while trying to please people who were never showing you their real selves anyway. You'll finally experience what it's like to build something real with people who are committed to being real. The three of you, or the small group you're part of, will become a demonstration of what's possible when people drop their masks and work together authentically. You'll create abundance not just for yourselves, but for everyone who comes into contact with your authentic collaboration. Your influence extends far beyond your personal life. Your authenticity is changing the world around you in ways both visible and invisible. You're pioneering a movement toward truth and transparency that will outlast your individual life. The future you're creating by staying unmasked is one where more people feel safe to be real, where authenticity becomes more valued than performance, where connection happens between real people rather than between carefully crafted personas. You are blessed, you are chosen. You are destined to walk unmasked in a masked world, and your example is giving others the courage to consider revealing their true faces too. The work you're doing by simply being yourself is some of the most important work happening on the planet right now. Your commitment to authenticity in a world that pressures you to hide who you are is an act of rebellion, an act of healing, and an act of love. You're not just living your truth, you're creating space for others to discover and live their truth too. The revolution happening around you isn't being fought with weapons or protests, it's being fought with people like you who refuse to hide behind masks, who insist on being real, who demonstrate daily that authentic living is not only possible but profoundly more fulfilling than any performance could ever be. Keep walking unmasked, chosen one. The world needs what you're offering, even when it doesn't know how to ask for it.